Hey everybody, Chef Scott Smith here from the Curious Pig in Peachtree City, Georgia. Today I'm going to make for you one of my dishes that has been on the menus at my restaurants for over 12 years. It's a chicken liver dish, today featuring Springer Mountain chicken livers. So let's get started. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, preheated large cast iron pan. I'm going to add some Beeler's bacon that I have diced up. All right, we're going to let this bacon crisp up for about 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to retain the grease so we can actually use that to fry the chicken livers in. So while we're watching the bacon brown, I'm going to start by adding some milk to these chicken livers. The reason why I put the milk on the livers is because it really helps take out some of the bitter and minerality to the chicken livers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it can be a little bit overpowering. So after the livers have some milk on them, I'm going to move them over to the seasoned flour. This flour has a little bit of cayenne pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of salt and pepper. So sometimes when you're cooking livers, they can pop and get very explosive. One of my tips to help keep that to a minimum is to allow the livers to sit in the flour just a little bit longer than you normally would when you dredge something. So I'm going to go ahead and cover these up. And I'm actually going to let these sit in the bowl of flour for about 5 or 10 minutes while we wait for this bacon to finish. All right, so we're back. And now that the bacon is browned off, we're going to put it onto a paper towel. So the smoke point on bacon grease is a little bit lower than I need for this chicken liver to saute. So I'm going to add a little bit of canola oil to the pan. And then I'm going to turn up the heat. So our chicken livers have been sitting in this flour a little bit longer. So we'll try to cut down on the splattering, but I do have the lid to this pan just in case things get out of control. All right, so we've put our livers in the pan here, but they are popping a little bit, so I'm going to add the lid. I leave the lid just a little bit tilted off so that they can still shoot out the steam so we don't create more problems. All right, so these livers are probably going to cook for about 3 minutes on each side. You can definitely hear them popping in there. All right, so now that they've browned on the first side, I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to put the lid back on top. Okay, so now the livers have been cooking for about 2 or 3 minutes on each side. I'm going to remove the lid very carefully and I'm going to set them on the paper towel next to the bacon. Man, those look good. All right, so we're moving on to our tomato jam. First thing we're going to do in a preheated pan is add a little bit of oil. I'm going to move the oil around, make sure it coats the pan evenly. We're going to add some onion. A little bit of jalapeno. Salt and pepper. We're going to let this brown for a few minutes. I always start off by sauteing the onions and the jalapenos so the flavors mellow a little bit and they're not too crunchy in the tomato jam. All right, so now we're going to add our tomatoes. We're going to add a little bit of chicken stock. And some apple cider vinegar. Right before we cover this up, we're going to add a little bit of brown sugar. Give it a quick stir. I'm going to put a lid on this and let it cook for about 5 minutes. Alrighty, so now that our tomatoes have cooked down a little bit, we're going to check them out. Looking good. So what I do now is I take this and let it cool down a little bit, and I just give it a quick blitz in the food processor. Through the magic of TV, we have one that's completed right here. This dish is really easy to plate, and I think it looks fantastic. We're going to add 4 dollops of our tomato jam. I'm going to add a little bit of our crumbled bacon. Give the livers a home on top of their tomato jam. And then add a little bit of green onion. All right, and there you have it. This is Springer Mountain Farms chicken livers. If you don't feel like making this yourself, please come visit me in Peachtree City at the Curious Pig. See you next time.